Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mohawk Motors. My name is Jason, and I finally have the time and reason to answer a question that I cannot find a solid answer to on the internet. I've seen both versions. Some people say you need to take a whole bunch of parts. Some people say you only need a few parts. But we're going to find out what it actually takes to convert a four-wheel drive front differential from a GMT 800 truck to an all-wheel drive front differential from a GMT 800 truck. And you can see the difference right out of the gate here. The all-wheel drive front differential has no actuator. This differential is connected the entire time. When the front wheels are turning, both axle shafts are turning, and the differential itself is turning and spinning the front drive shaft. In the four-wheel drive application, when your four-wheel drive is not turned on, this actuator uncouples this axle shaft from the differential. So this shaft will spin and this shaft will spin, but the differential will not spin. In four-wheel drive, maybe it helps save you a mile per gallon or so. In all-wheel drive, you need that because you want all four wheels available for propulsion. You want power going to all four wheels. But what I want to do, and the reason I'm doing this all-wheel drive front differential is from a 2002 Yukon Denali. It has 373 gears in it. This four-wheel drive front differential is from a 2005 Silverado 1500, but it has 410 gears in it. And in my current project, I want to use the 410 gear differential, but I want it to be all-wheel drive. If I weren't me, I could just go ahead and stack some nuts inside this actuator to permanently lock the shaft together and essentially accomplish the same thing. But I prefer to have things as factory appearing and functioning as possible. I like to try to put stuff together so that if somebody didn't know better and they looked at it, they would think GM did it that way. So we're going to take our all-wheel drive parts, we're going to put them onto the four-wheel drive differential, and we're going to find out, is it as simple as just unbolting the side housing, slipping it out, and then bolting it on with some new sealant, as some of the internet says? Or is it a bit more complex? And is there a snap ring on the end of this axle shaft that holds the shaft into the side gear in the differential? I'm honestly hoping it's the first option so I don't have to split this differential open and get that side gear out. But we're going to find out. I've already gone ahead and drained the oil out of both differentials. So I think it makes the most sense, in my head anyway. I'm going to remove these 5 bolts and get this axle shaft off because we'll be able to see right away if there's a snap ring on the end of it or not. If there's no snap ring, we'll just get everything cleaned up and bolt our 410 differential together. If there is, we're going to have to go a bit further. So, all right, get some rags under here. Even though I've already drained these differentials, I'm fairly confident we're going to leak a little oil here. So try not to make a huge mess. All right. Take it easy on the meat hammer, Jason. There we go. All right, so our side housing here is free. Something is holding that in there. What do you want to bet? It's a snap ring. Woohoo! Man. This is going to be tricky, huh? Let's see here. Oh my, here comes the oil. And build a dam so it doesn't get into all my other stuff. There, that's it, like it's loose. There we go. Man, I drained this thing. How is there this much oil still coming out of it? Woo! All over my hammer. All right, let's answer our question here. There is, well, there's a groove for a snap ring. Does that mean our snap ring is still in there somewhere? Probably. All right, well, I guess that answers that portion of the question. The axle shaft is machined for a snap ring. I don't think they would machine it if they weren't going to put one in there. So I guess we're going to split the side of this case off and see if we can get that side gear out. And try to make as little mess as possible on my workbench here. We're also going to have to try to locate that snap ring, huh? The good news is that bolt doesn't want to come out. No. The good news is that I'm not going to actually interfere with the setup in the gears, in the ring and pinion gears. In doing this, I just have to do my very best to make sure that I get this thing, or I guess technically that I get the other one sealed up well so I don't have problems and oil leak after I've just put a ton of time into cleaning up and painting my frame and chassis. Fortunately too, these bolts for the case half are longer. They appear to all be the same length. They're all longer than the ones that hold the little side housing on, so that's good. I've never actually had one of these open before. I wonder if we're gonna have to do like this. Hey, there we go. Oh my goodness. Oh, oil avalanche. No, 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 no. Build a dam. How is there this much oil in this differential? Oh, what a disaster. Holy smokes. It's the Exxon Valdez around here. Ah! Oh, it's leaking the other way too. Oh my gosh. No, 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 no. Oh my goodness. I'll bring you back when I get this under control. Holy moly. All right, I'm back. Mess cleaned up. Cleaned up enough to continue on anyway. There's the one case half. Here is our ring and pinion. All we really need right now is the ring gear and the side gear that I can see right down in there with the snap ring still in it. So this thing should, if it's like every other differential I've ever worked on, just lift out. But it doesn't seem to want to do that. Oh, I bet there's a snap ring in this. There is a snap ring in this shaft holding the other side in. Great. We gotta get that out of there now. Let's see here. There we go. There's the short side shaft. Now remember, folks, all I need out of this differential is that long side shaft, the housing, and the side gear I'm about to get out of here. Now, I have read, and it would make sense, that all of the side gears are machined for that snap ring. And I mean, it would make sense. Why bother making two different side gears? Just make one side gear that will work for everything, because even if you don't have the snap ring, it'll still spin a shaft just fine. So we may have done all of this for no reason, but at least now I know. So let's look at this differential here. And of course, this differential will not allow me to remove the pinion shaft because the ring gear is in the way. So, least destructive next step is for me to remove the ring gear, which means we're probably going to have to do it on the other differential also, if we do in fact need to change out that side gear. Let's get this out of the way. I don't need that anymore. And typically I don't like wasting parts, but in this case I have plenty of 373 front differentials around here, so I don't mind sacrificing one. Are these right left-handed threads? Sure are. Fortunately, 373 differentials are very easy to come by in my neck of the woods. Boom. That's out of the way. Now we need a drift to drive the roll pin out that is holding that center shaft in. I bet this one works. I custom made this for something else a while ago. There we go. There's the roll pin that holds the center pin. You get the center pin out of the way. Now we can roll our, should be able to roll our pinion gears out. Maybe? Oh, those don't seem to want to move. Go on. You can do it. There's something holding these here. What's stopping them from going? Is it the little shims underneath? There we go. Ooh, she's got some wear and tear on her. I don't know if you can see, but the back side of these side gear spacers, pinion gear spacers, are rough. All right, there's one side gear. Let's see, we needed the one from the ring gear side. Come on over there. There we go. That's the one we need. All right. Now I'm going to tell you, looking at both of these, they look identical. So I'm going to bet that when we get to looking inside that other case, I bet the side gear itself is the same, but I bet there's no snap ring in that side gear, if there's any difference at all. I guess we'll find out. So let me sit this stuff I don't need out of the way. We'll sit the parts that I do need right over here. We'll put this other stuff out of the way, and we'll get our 410 differential up here on the bench and get it broken down. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right, here we go. 4-wheel drive differential. Hopefully we don't make another gigantic mess. I'm gonna do as little disassembly as possible on this one because obviously this is the one I want to use, and the less I mess with it, the less likely something's gonna get screwed up. And anything can be unscrewed up, but that takes time. And I try not to waste my time whenever I can. I'll give her a little bonk. That's loose. That lifts right out, and there's our actuator. So this is the little part. You can see the small splines sit over the shaft that goes out to the wheel, and then inside, these large dog teeth slip over the end of this shaft. And this shaft, very interesting, although doesn't need it, so why bother, does not have a groove machined in it for a snap ring. However, I can see, and let me see if I can hold this up here and show you guys. I can see in the spline portion of this shaft, a shadow. I guess technically it would be a light spot. I don't know if it shows up in the camera. It's very subtle. But there is a light spot on the side of those splines that looks like right where the snap ring groove sits. So I'm wondering if it's the same side gear in there and they just don't put a snap ring in it, or if it's just a coincidence. Or maybe I'm seeing things to try to make my life easier. Grab a light. Let's see what we can see down in there. Well, hot diggity dog, what do you know? That side gear is not machined. I'll slide a pick down in there just to make sure. Nope, there's no groove in that side gear, team. No snap ring groove. So that is in fact a different side gear. I really was not expecting that. It seems, it's very not like GM. And it's very not like a mass-produced part to bother making two different parts and doing all the assembly on two different parts. Very interesting. All right, well, that means we got to get this differential all the way apart, just like we got the other one all the way apart. We got to pop the other side axle shaft out. We got to clean it so we can seal it again and get after it. So I'm going to do stuff you've already seen me do. Let's do a time lapse on this. All right, folks, everything apart. Here is the four-wheel drive side gear. And I hope you can see in there, but there definitely is not a groove for a snap ring or a snap ring in there. That's not what we need. Here is the all-wheel drive side gear. You can see our snap ring is in there. So I went ahead, I've measured, I've eyeballed, I've counted, and as far as I can tell, everything else about these side gears is the same. GM just, I guess it saved them a couple pennies per differential to not machine the groove and not put the snap ring in there. So I'm gonna start putting it all back together. Like I say, and many times, assembly is the opposite of disassembly, and just make sure you put everything back where you got it from. This differential actually looks healthier inside than the all-wheel drive differential did. The pinion gears, the rear bushings, shims were all chewed up in that all-wheel drive differential, and this one they're nice and smooth the way they should be. So I feel better about this differential as a whole. Now I just got to try to put everything back together exactly how it came apart, with the exception of putting in my snap ring side gear. So I'm going to get to it. Hopefully we can get this wrapped up tonight and I can get to bed before midnight. Well, folks, as you can see, all back together. I think I spent about the same amount of time cleaning up spilled gear oil as I did taking apart and putting back together. But now we know that there is in fact a different side gear between the four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive differentials. I'm gonna save this other side gear in case I happen to have any other differentials that I would like to convert to all-wheel drive. In fact, I know I have another 410 front differential on the shelf over there that was originally 4x4 that I put an all-wheel drive housing on and shaft. So that one would need that gear if I decide to use it as all-wheel drive. I may put it back to four-wheel drive, I don't know. But the point of this is, now we know the side gear in the Carrier in a four-wheel drive front differential does not have the groove or the snap ring that is required to retain the longer shaft for an all-wheel drive application. Now that said, you don't have to do it this way. You could just lock the four-wheel drive front differential in four-wheel drive all the time. Be very simple. I've read of people, this actuator just pushes the collar up or pushes it toward the differential to lock it. It's too slippery, I can't do it. Yeah, it's too slippery. But it pushes this actuator and engages these teeth to lock in four-wheel drive. You could just stack some nuts or washers in here and achieve the same thing. And it would keep that front differential locked in all the time, just like in an all-wheel drive differential. You could also do that in an emergency to get your four-wheel drive to work, to get you home again. Realistically, is the snap ring absolutely necessary in an all-wheel drive application? Probably not. Unless you've got your truck lifted way up in the air and there's possibility of the axle shaft, the CV shaft pulling this axle out of the differential, which is, you'd have to be doing something pretty wild. It's more than likely going to stay there anyway. So, absolutely necessary? No. Does it make me feel good to know that it's done the way it would have been done from the factory? Yes. And now we all have a definite answer. At least, I mean, maybe these were an anomaly. Maybe that's not the normal, but now we've seen. So if you're thinking about it, I hope this helps you, gives you some information. Now my curiosity is satisfied, and I'm just trying to share that with you guys. So thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.